Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. Guys, home of the craziest contradictions I've ever seen in my entire life, bro. So we have the governor. Let's start with the governor. The governor of Illinois, he says, you know what, listen, if you commit a crime here and you are undocumented, it is in fact time for you to go, basically. You cannot stay here any longer. Right? Then now we have the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, who was basically elected to represent the people that elected him. And guess what happened? He did the exact opposite, is what it seems, because the majority of his overall constituents have no interest in the city being a sanctuary city. So that's mighty intriguing, right? So we have a whole lot of contradictions basically everywhere, all over Chicago. But all right, listen, name of the video is Chicago resident blasts Selena Gomez. We are putting Americans first. Let's check it out. It's a suggestion via Discord, guys. Let's see where this takes us.
Look, we're only a week in, and so far, so good. But with approximately 15 million illegals here, probably more, Tom Homan and the DHS will need to move with deliberate speed. They'll need to get creative. Everyone here illegally needs to return home so we can have peace in our home. And that's the angle. Joining us now is Vashon Tuncle, Chicago resident and activist, and Joe Borelli, minority leader of the New York City Council. Vashon, Tom Homan's deportations in Chicago, you heard your governor and you've heard your mayor. They're really upset by this. They say, oh, we're not going to interfere, but.
Right, but they're interfering.
Okay, I just want to say this. First thing I want to say is thank you, Tom Homan, for doing an absolute great job for cleaning up the city of Chicago. I know you're not done yet. And I have another thing to say to Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker. How do you guys sleep at night knowing that there are rapists out here that committed these heinous crimes against the children and the women? How do you guys sleep at night knowing that we're $500 million in debt when it comes to these illegals? How do these men sleep at night knowing that you're putting illegal immigrants that are committing crimes over the American citizens? I just can't believe that they're doing this.
Yeah, I think in their head, what it comes down to is moral superiority, guys. Right? I mean, they're saying, listen, this makes me feel good, so we're going to continue doing it regardless of how much money that's actually being spent. I think that's what's happening here.
Well, and Joe, each illegal immigrant in the United States, I got an illegal alien. Immigrants are the people we welcome in because they want to be part of the national fabric. They want to contribute to the society. But Joe, they cost, on average, $8,000 a year in subsidies, health care, schooling, all the other vouchers they receive from various entities. So the idea that this doesn't cost us anything, this costs us hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah, we have the receipts here in New York. So far, the migrant crisis has cost $6.5 billion with a B out of pocket. Wow. So if there's no other elected official in New York, maybe it's just me, but I want to say thank you to President Trump. Thank you to Tom Homan, because as a taxpayer in this city, I don't know how long we can possibly sustain this wave of illegal people living on our dime. I mean, thankfully, we have seen a reduction in the numbers thanks to some of the work that Trump has done on the border already. So we are closing some of our migrant shelters. But how do we get back that $6.5 billion that could have gone to schools, to hospitals, to nurses, to firefighters, or even, making the flowers in the park grow nicer? All these things were taken from us because the Democratic Party fundamentally failed us at the border and here in our large cities.
Well, Vashon, what's happening in places like Fairfax County, Virginia, which is right outside of D.C., is a very wealthy area, but the public schools have seen a decrease in enrollment. COVID, but a lot of the politics in public schools, a lot of especially Christian parents have pulled their kids out. So the illegal influx of students is actually helpful to the teachers' unions, a whole new generation to propagandize to, I guess. Right. So that's also kind of an unholy alliance, along with Catholic Charities, sadly, Lutheran Services, all these other NGOs.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. We have to just start putting Americans first. Like, it's just as simple as that. And I believe Tom Homan is doing the right job when it comes to putting Americans first. And I just want to say this to all the criers out there who are crying over the undocumented immigrants who's been here for years and whatever, like Selena Gomez. Yeah. Tom Homan has already made this clear. If you are here illegally, you're not off the table. You are committing a crime within itself if you're here illegally in America.
I mean, again,
Yeah,
but
guys, Selena Gomez is. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, bro. That video is wild. Like she's crying really hard. But that's that moral superiority thing I'm talking about, guys. You have to, as long as they feel good about it, they're completely fine with the concept of criminality, but yet they want to live in a place that is completely just and law abiding, like the United States of America. But the problem is, bro, you cannot make your first action in the country an illegal one. I get it. The concept of migrating is expensive. That's the reality of the situation. America is not a cheap place to immigrate to. It is not. But let's continue.
But they just want to like say, oh, that doesn't matter. Well, that's why we have millions of people here, Joe. It does. If they told the world that if you come here illegally, you can stay indefinitely. They broadcast that to the world.
they did that.
And
They
you
did
in New
that.
York are suffering, and you in Chicago, and Oakland, and St. Louis, and little towns across America, you're all suffering as a result, Joe.
Right. I mean, Tom Homan's fundamentally right. He talked about consequences as being the negative and being the reason people don't come. But the consequences when they're giving you free stuff and free health care and free schools and fundamentally the life that many of them do hope for, of course, more people are going to come. It doesn't take a genius to realize it. In fact, even Eric Adams tried to fly down to South America at one point during this crisis to try to convince people that this wasn't in their best interest. But until we stop giving them, basically everything they possibly need for free,
their countries would never give it to them.
That changed when Donald Trump took office on day one, and I suspect it's going to get better from here on in.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have to be removed, and it's got to be a pace that it's going to be hard to maintain, but we just have to do it. Vashon, Joe, thank you so much.
Okay, guys, here's the thing. So what they're doing here is that they are starting to no longer use like commercial airliners. I think that's kind of what Biden and Obama were doing, basically. That's basically what they were doing. I think Trump was also doing that his first term, but now they're using smartly. I'm guessing Doge has something to do with this. I'm guessing our military budget is excessive, and I mean we can lose 20% of our military budget and still be very far above all the other nations. So since we have all of these things, let's utilize these things instead of wasting more money on commercial airliners, guys. That's smart. That's incredibly smart. That's excessively business savvy. We have it. It's free for us, basically, because it's already kind of in the budget. But here's the thing. There's a lot of people that definitely have been just taking advantage of all these things. Someone accused me in the comments of basically saying that you must not like brown people. That's crazy. My mother's Dominican. Okay, my entire family it looks like the Rainbow Coalition. But for the most part, we have every single skin tone in my family reunions. Right, my father is Sicilian. And I can keep going on and on and on about these things. It's not about this. My wife is from the south of Spain. All right. So I don't understand the attack, let's say, on me by saying that I don't like the concept of immigration when I've immigrated to multiple countries on multiple continents. I've also immigrated my wife and my son to this country. What is the... Listen, I'm just saying, I would prefer the legal nature of things. I cannot explain that. And it's nothing more than this. I don't not like a certain group of people. That's crazy. That's wild to me. I would just say I would rather live in a country that has laws. I'd rather live in a country that does not broadcast to the world, that will give them all this free, cool stuff that within their countries they were not able to achieve. Like, listen, there are some places around the world that where the average household income is like $145. When you tell people from that country, hey, listen, we're going to go ahead and give you, I don't know, $2,000 or so. Guess what that equals out to be? More than they would have made in a year in their country. That's what you guys are saying to the world. There are a lot of places who make even less than that. But all right, you know what? Apparently, we're all the bad guys here, guys. Right? For saying that, hey, listen, if you are in the country illegally, you gotta go somewhere else, bro. We cannot keep taking care of you, right? Like, we have our own issue with entitlements in this country with the people that utilize consistently these entitlements when they are not in fact disabled, but they're acting like they are. And I'm not referring to the people who actually are and actually utilize these things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm referring to the fraudsters that fraud basically all of the American programs. Like, we have our own issues with that. We don't need to now add on millions upon millions upon millions of people into that system. Guys, we do not. But, you know, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.